Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to the segment of Khoj Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day, the recitation, Sorat Kabir Ji, Karduja. Bhukhe Bhagat na Kijai, yeh mala apni lijai. How mango santan rena, main nahi kisi ka dena. That's the first verse. Bhukhe Bhagat na Kijai, yeh mala apni lijai. Bhukhe Bhagat na lijai. Now, what I have noticed is that virtually all English translations have rendered this line rather simplistically and quite superficially as either a hungry person cannot perform meditation, or I'm so hungry I cannot perform devotional worship. I think we should try and understand that the word bhukhe doesn't imply simply physical hunger, and that we know that Kabirji's vocabulary and his choice of words veil deeper meanings always. So let's examine what bhukhe here really means. What does he mean by saying, I'm so hungry I can't perform meditation? Yes, it's understood. I mean, that if you are hungry, the chances are that your mind is scattered and your focus happens to be food. That is obvious enough. I don't think Kabirji has to state something that obvious. So let's look at bhukhe, bhukhe. Bhukhe is not just physical. Bhukhe is also psychological. It's the craving of the mind. When the mind is hungry for recognition, for possessions or achievement, that's another kind of hunger. That is also a bhukhe. Gurbani also uses bhukhe as the desire for union with the divine, spiritual bhukhe. So it is, the meaning here, as far as I'm concerned, is deeper than just physical hunger. What is being said is that when you are consumed by desire, whether it is physical or psychological, you cannot really be engaged in devotional love. I mean, your mind is not going to focus. So what he's saying is, Bhukhe Bhagat na kijai. Don't feign devotion when your mind is consumed by all kinds of desire. Yeh mala apni lijai. Take back your rosary, and we'll talk about that in a second. How mango santan rena. All I ask for is the dust of the feet of seekers. What does that mean? Receptivity, humility. Seeking somebody's dust means trying to learn from that individual or that group. And that is all that Kabir is looking for. How mango santan rena, main nahi kisi ka dena. Literally, it means I don't owe anybody anything. But if you look beneath the surface, what is being said here is that I'm only interested in the knowledge that I can receive from those who are walking this path, the path of the Guru. And I owe allegiance to nobody else. That, I think, is the proper way to look at this. Don't look at bhukhe just as physical hunger. Mala is ritualistic worship. Take it back. There's no point in just performing empty rituals when your mind is not there. So what is needed is humility. How mango santan rena. And one-pointed allegiance. So we have to be very careful in this entire Sabad, because the next one, he says in the Rahau, Madho kaisi bane tum sange, apna deho tale wo mange. Now, literally translated, O beloved Madho, how can I establish a relationship with you when you don't give any of yourself up, what should I be asking for? So this is a very intimate question. You, O beloved, remain hidden. What possible relation can I have with you if you're not going to reveal yourself, if you withhold your grace? And here he's saying, Talevo mange, that I might look elsewhere. The irony being that there is no elsewhere. So looking elsewhere, Kabirji is suggesting that when he says looking elsewhere, he's talking about the duality of the mind exploring the outside world, which is why the Har divine is hidden. We are yearning for devotion, yet trapped in separation. That's the central message. And now the last these two verses are very significant. He says, Doe ser mango chuna, I ask for 2 seers. It's a unit of measurement. 2.2 seers, I believe, equals a kilogram. Something like that. But it's a unit of measure used in India. Kabirji is saying, all I've asked for is 2 seers of ground floor, chuna, something that has been ground. Pao ghio sangaluna, in addition to ground flour, I'm asking for a 1/4 measure of ghee, clarified butter, and a touch of salt. Sangaluna. Adh ser mango dale, half a seer of lentils. Moko dono vakat jivale, so that I may be sustained by eating 2 times a day. Dono vakt, morning, evening, so that I'm sustained. Now again, if we take this literally, it is a minimal request to keep the body and mind together. The suggestion here is that we should eat for sufficiency, not for accumulation. Eat what you need. We all recognize that. So we must look below the deceptively simple compositions of Kabirji. So again, he's using the language of everyday to veil a deep metaphysical truth. The ingredients, flour, ghee, salt, lentils, should not be read as a grocery list. They are symbols of psychological and spiritual nutrients, virtues, the building blocks of the inner life. Doe ser mangu chuna, the 2 essential qualities of humility and self-grounding. Chuna, ground. The grinding of the ego produces the essence of humility and grounding. Pao ghyo sangaluna, clarified butter, pure distillation, the essence of the essence, symbolizing purified awareness or grace. And luna, loon, salt, is invisible, but it preserves and flavors food. So spiritually, it is discernment or vivek, the subtle understanding that gives savor, flavor to wisdom and preserves our integrity. Adh ser mango dale, lentils, protein, symbolizing action. The half measure suggests moderation, enough to serve, but not to conquer. Kabirji continues with this list. Khat mango chopai, sirhana avar tulai, upar ko mango khinda, teri bhagt kare jan thinda. Khat mango chopai, I ask for a cot with 4 legs, a pillow and a sheet. Sirhana avar tulai. Not only that, but I require a quilt to cover myself. Upar ko mango khinda, so that I may be able to be engaged in devotion. Teri bhagt kare jan tinda. Tinda means smooth, focused devotion. So like that grocery list above, this verse is asking for a modest place to rest, a cot, a pillow, a sheet, a quilt. But again, in Kabirji's idiom, don't confuse it just for material comfort. Yes, we need some degree of material comfort, but this is actually giving you the blueprint, the architecture of the inside, the inner, spiritual composure, sehaj. The cot with its 4 legs signifies the char padarth, the cardinal virtues in Indian systems, and Sikhi has its own 4, Nam, Gyan, Dharam, and Janam padarth, being the 4 padarths in the Indian systems. It is Arth, Dharam, Kam, and there's another one that I forget right now. The point being, these are considered virtues, 4 virtues, the 4 cardinal virtues. So this is what forms the bedstead of consciousness, a stable platform where the restless mind may finally be in peace. And the pillow is a support for the head, humility, gentle resting. The sheet, simplicity and purity. And the quilt, warmth, the grace of remembrance. So this is more or less the inner shrine that you are cultivating. So the furniture that he mentions and the quilt and so on is that of virtues. These are the virtues that you have to cultivate, that you ask for. And in conclusion, he says, Main nahi kita labbo, I have not practiced cleverness or deceit. Ek nao tera main phabbo. Phabbo is suitable because your name suits me fine. Kahe kabir man manya to har janya. When the mind yields to the wisdom of the Guru, when the mind yields, absorbs. If you recall, he talked about seeking the dust of seekers. That's the connection with the Guru. So when the mind yields to the Guru, then it recognizes its own divine origin. Man manya to har janya. So this resolves that inner drama. Sustenance, living simply, freedom from lub, cunning, calculation. What remains is consciousness that is clothed only in wisdom. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.